happy to welcome you today to the June edition of our RxAll Academy webinar. And joining today, we have a distinguished guest that will be taking on an interesting topic for today. So without much ado, I think so far we have Absalam that has joined, and also we have I think Absalam has joined. Okay. Okay, can you hear me? I'm assuming that you can hear me clearly. I can't hear Ayo.
Can hear you.
Yeah.
Able to hear you.
Ayo, can you say something?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, I can hear you also right now.
See, I'm stuck in transit, so I'm having to do this from the car.
Oh, okay. Oh, if you are not driving, I think we can still have it. Can you just get off the road and let us do this?
I'm not driving.
Okay, good. Thank you very much for joining, Ayo. Really glad to have you.
Thank you for
here
having
today.
me.
Thanks a lot. Okay, without much ado, we'll just talk briefly about our topic for today. Ayo Bankole will be talking about cash flow management strategies for pharmacies and hospitals in the era of COVID-19. So I want to welcome everybody once again. The webinar is going to last for about an hour. Then you'll have opportunity to ask questions and have Ayo respond to your concerns. Okay. Before we go ahead, let me just talk briefly about our guests for today. Ayo Bankole is a career strategist and is the founder of Lagos SMA Bootcamp series, and which is actually a free capacity building platform, helping SMEs position them for strategic growth. I know from the little info I also have about him, he has supported over 300 SMEs till date, and his wife is a thought leader, is a prolific speaker, and I'm actually looking forward to hear from him, learn from all he has to talk to us today about. So I really welcome you, Ayo Bankole. Thank you for accepting to to hold this session with us today. We are really happy to have you around.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for doing this.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I think we can start with you. I will try to present from here your slides where we have you facilitate the session. Okay. Can you see the screen now?
No, still loading. I'm waiting.
Yeah, I think it's on now.
It's still loading here. It's saying screen loading error.
Oh. Minute, let's see what is causing that. Okay.
Okay, it's showing on.
All right. Yeah, I guess you can start now.
Okay, I can start now, eh?
Yes, you can. You can proceed.
Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know how many
You have
we
about
have
5 minutes.
on. I don't know if we have ladies, but gentlemen, good morning. I believe that everybody here today are healthcare professionals, right?
Yeah, I'm assuming.
Is it a dual audio thing? Can I hear people or?
No, for
Are they-
now, you are presenting. You are presenting until the time for question and answer. On a question session, that's when we'll leave that.
Okay,
Maybe
please,
on the
can you help me
microphone.
scroll this to the full page, please? The full page 1.
Okay.
I think you may need to scroll the bigger page. That's the cover page. I mean page 1.
Okay. Almost there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so because of the limited time, I'm going to go very straightforward to the conversation for the day, which is cash flow management strategies for healthcare professionals, pharmacists, hospital owners, and all of that. I mean, you know that during this COVID time, there has been tremendous challenges across various sectors, the economy, and those in the healthcare industry have not, been been excluded from these challenges. However, the healthcare industry in particular has its own dynamics. Some, have sort of benefited because they've had to open new income streams. Some have lost because they've had to practically shut down due to COVID scares and or due to the fact that a lot of people now, if you've been following closely COVID news, you would understand that hospitals have been seen as the primary sources of distribution. Hospitals and healthcare centers, gyms, and all that have been seen to be amongst the primary sources of distribution of what's it called now, of the COVID virus. And as a result of that, a lot of people have had to stay home and avoid hospitals, pharmacies, clinics, gyms, and any other center that has to do with healthcare. And as a result of that, a lot of these professionals or players in this industry have suffered tremendous losses, in many circumstances, like their colleagues in other environments. However, a lot of people, there's also another side to it that sort of created a boom. For example, there were numerous scares for purchases of certain types of drugs, purchases of certain types of perceived immune boosters. A lot of people who fell ill at this time had to be made to do antibody testing So a lot of hospitals diversified. They now sell. Even pharmacies had booms with sale of sanitizers, nose masks, testing of antibodies, between 25,000 to 100,000. So you have varying degrees of impact of the COVID-19 on players in the healthcare space. However, based on data, Q1 data released by MBS says that the health and social services sector, grew by 1.06% in Q1, and that's a fairly good one, because almost every other sector declined, and especially because Q4 2019 had a decline, had a negative growth. There was a contraction in that industry. So if anything, if Q1 is anything to go by, you can see that ultimately a lot of players in this sector may have benefited than those who did not. So but having said that, there will be all indices or all forecasts have pointed to a recession in this economy in the next 3 quarters or 4 quarters. So in the next 4 quarters or more. And we don't want to be caught in that kind of recession unplanned. So this session, I'm going to be talking about various strategies. And as you know, cash is king. You can be making a lot of sales, but not have cash. And your business, as a matter of fact, cash flow problems is one of the leading, one of the top 5 leading problems that leads to SME failures. And as you are aware, that an overwhelming majority of the players in this sector are SME owners or are MSMEs. So as a result of, definitely, MSME data is going to apply directly to this sector. So first and foremost, how can you even manage cash flow? What exactly do we even mean by cash flow management? So the truth is, in accounting, you have debits, you have inflows, which is P&L, profit and loss, right? Profit and loss simply means top line and bottom line. You are making revenue, you are making sales, right? And you are making profit. So you are efficient in your middle line, such that your bottom line is making sense, right? However, you are not seeing the money that you are making, because accounting principles allows you to recognize sales even without receiving the money. Once you have supplied, delivered value to the customer, sales is recognized in accounting. So you are making sales, you are selling, you are controlling your costs below your sales, so you are making profit, but you are not seeing the cash. So you are unable to meet your obligations, either short-term or medium-term obligations, especially short-term. You are unable to pay salaries, you are unable to restock, you are unable to, pay rent and other OPEX. So you need cash to continue. Cash is the blood, is the lifeline of the business. A lot of people say that businesses can survive a dip in sales, but cash can kill it, is what will strangle you. So how can you retain your cash at this point? What are the various cash flow techniques that you can use? First and foremost, and very important, is what we call inflow outflow alignment. Now, the essential principle behind cash flow management is inflow and outflow balance. And how do I explain this? It's because we were going to share the slide, so I'm going to do a lot of conversations outside of the slide. Now, cash flow management simply means your ability to manage, to ensure that what is coming in, right, is higher than what is going out. That is, your spending in terms of your payments, are lower than your receivables, your receipts. So if in this month I'm collecting 1 million naira in cash from my customers, I shouldn't be making payment that is more than 1 million. If my obligations, cash obligations, are more than 1 million, then I'm cash trapped. Now, this includes either payment for stock inventory, payment for what's it called, vendors, payment for salaries, or whatever it is that you need payment for. It must be managed such that it is well below your receivables or your receipts. And don't forget that prioritization then comes in. We're still going to get to other place, but that's the basic principle behind cash flow, which is the inflow outflow alignment. Now, what are the simple tools that you can use for this? First and foremost is to ensure that you are on a consistent negotiation path with your with your suppliers, in a way that, so for example, well, luckily in this industry, a lot of you, especially pharmacists, are retail players, such that most of your customers are working, so they pay you cash. However, for a few pharmacies and for several hospitals, you deal with HMOs, and HMOs owe a lot. In fact, the default operation of HMOs is to owe you. They have 30 to 60-day payment plan, meaning that you have to commit to treating a lot of clients without receiving cash. And some of your obligations are immediate cash transactions. So what can you do in that kind of situation, right? First is to ensure that your suppliers, you are able to negotiate payment terms with them that balances out with your inflows. So if you know that your cash cycle, so for example, maybe within 2 weeks, your average cash cycle within 2 weeks in terms of how much cash you have within 2 weeks is about 200,000, right? Because your average clients will not pay you in lower than 2 weeks, then you can negotiate with your suppliers to also delay payments for about 2 weeks. So I shouldn't be dealing with all my suppliers on an instant payment mode, while I'm dealing with my customers on a delayed payment mode. It leaves me cash trapped. So irrespective of what value chain, what segment of the value chain you are playing, you should be able to find ways to make this negotiation. Otherwise, there is no choice. You are going to be cash trapped, except you have a huge capital base or cash buffer. And with time, you are going to deplete it if that's your primary mode of operations. Now, of course, there will be always cases where you may need to accelerate payables to critical suppliers. So, for example, if your cash is trapped, if your supplier has cash trap and it needs you to pay, of course, all of those, emergencies will come up where you have to make payments. But there will also be some suppliers who will not agree, but you have to define means to negotiate and strike that balance. There has to be a balance. This is the primary cause of cash trapping, right? And at this time, I already mentioned in my introduction that you cannot even sleep on revenue diversification. You can't afford to still be stuck on your primary mode of operations. You have to find ways to do new things. You have to sell, new things. You have to find ways to continuously add value to your customer base. It seems I'm not the only one on the road. I can hear honking there. So if you are able to take advantage of these diversification strategies, right, it would help you balance out your primary. So if your primary mode of business is such that you can't even delay payments, for example, you are able to then balance it out with additional sources of income. There is nothing that is too much for you to do, so far as it is not illegal and it is legal. It is within your regulators' what's that thing called now? Guidelines. Because at this time, the risks are too much for you to be focused on only one area. Now, there are also lots of discounts. There are lots of government interventions for the healthcare sector. I remember I did a thread some time ago on the specific interventions by the CBN for those in the healthcare space. If you follow me online, you would see that. And so there are lots of these things that healthcare professionals can sign on for. And a lot of players, SMEs in Nigeria, give up very quickly, and you can't blame them. It's because of the way the country is. They give up by just saying no, we can't get it. Is connections? Is this? I mean, never. Just make attempt. Continue to apply for these interventions. I know a lot of people in our ecosystem, in our community, who have benefited from some of these things, and you can also benefit. And when you get that, it helps you reserve certain cash, right? And before you know it, you have a background. By the time you then add all of these deployments, you are able to have cash reserves that you can use where there is problem, right? Now, let's look at, there is a very important element that we're going to discuss, which is the part of demand planning and forecasting, but I would delay that till later. Now, let's talk about managing variable costs. Now, there are various variable costs that are fixed as at this time, right? Or before this period, that you may not be able to carry on given the realities at this time, right? For example, staff cost depends on the nature of your business. If your organization is staff heavy, and don't forget that staff heavy is relative to your revenues, to your size. If your organization is staff heavy, this is the time to begin to readjust, right? Now, if you do a lot of things in-house, this is the time to consider outsourcing them on a need basis. I mean, if the frequency of an activity is not recurring, consistently recurring, there's no need for you to keep it in-house. And a lot of these strategies you may not be able to deploy until you have sufficient insight and data. That's where we go in on demand planning and all of that later on. So you have to be constantly gathering data about your business. Now, again, I already mentioned resource optimization strategy. So one of it is to look at, okay, the people that I have, are they maximally efficient? What are the types of trainings that they need that I can give them? You don't even have to take them out for training. You can do all these type of sessions, send them on subscribe them for various platforms to do training. So they can also understand, they can have an entrepreneurial mindset and approach to managing your business, to managing your resources, to managing your cash. It's not only you that knows it, right? Now, the second point was what I was talking about, which is migration of fixed cost to variable cost. Anything that is not your core, that is non-core, consider outsourcing them so that you are only paying for them when you need them, as against retaining them in-house and they are incurring costs. Depends on the nature of your business too. You may have some assets that the cost of maintaining is affecting your cash flow. You can dispose of those assets and lease them on a need basis, right? By the time you do all of this and aggregate them, you see that you are saving up a lot of cash, that otherwise you would have been spending. Now, let's go to the next page. I'll come back to demand planning and forecasting later. Let's go to the next page. I hope somebody is keeping tab, please.
Yeah.
Okay, so now let's talk about receivables. I already mentioned the balance between inflow and outflow. Now, your receivables are your primary source of income, right? That's where your cash is coming from. But some people will owe you. And the more people that owe you and are unable to pay you when you need it, the more problems you are in, right? So there are ways, of course, primarily is invoicing, but that's not really the primary problem in this industry. Now, you must continue to you must normalize periodic conduct of creditor or can I call it customer database? For example, if you have a lot of HMOs, develop a matrix that you are using to monitor who is a good creditor. What are my own credit terms? Who is following it? How frequently do they follow it? Who are the guys putting me to too much exposure, right? How can I renegotiate my SLA with those guys, or even delete some of them? I've worked with several hospitals who have had to delete some HMOs because they don't pay them. There's no point recording sales that is not turning to cash. It becomes debt. It's better not to even have sales and not incur cost than to provide service and not get paid, right? So you can't continue to hang on to bad customers, right? So you may have to look at that. There are a lot of cheap technology tools. Now, SaaS is software as a service. As against buying softwares, paying for maintenance costs, blah, 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 you can consider, buying affordable software as a service tools that can help you streamline your operations. In fact, there are accounting softwares that you pay nothing more than 10,000, 15,000, 20,000, 5,000 on a monthly basis for subscription per user, and they help you provide visibility on your financial position. You are able to monitor your inflows, you are able to monitor your outflows, you are able to know you are able to pull out reports on those that are owing you real time, as against having to be doing it manually or Excel on a periodic basis, right? We already mentioned the payment structure. Then insurance is very key. People who follow me online know that I'm very keen on insurance. You can't afford not to have a comprehensive insurance if there is a major disruption to your business at this time, right? Insurance is very important. Now, your inventory. Let's go to streamlining your inventory. One of the biggest sources of problems at this time is inventory management. If you have a large pool of inventory and you are unable to manage that inventory such that a lot of them go bad, if your inventory is higher than your transaction frequency, then you are in trouble. So you need to, that's where we'll go to demand forecasting, demand planning. So you need to find a way to continuously monitor the trends in your inventory. How that's where softwares or advanced Excel is important. How often does my inventory move? Where are the high demand products? How do I refill them? Material resource planning, right? What is the pattern over the past 3 months, over the past 1 month, right? How can I forecast those patterns such that it then affects how I buy, how I restock? So you don't over restock and then you don't sell. You can also study things like periods or weather. So for example, if we're in cold weather, there may be more flu. So all those elements are things that you look at to feed into your inventory, right? Diversify your suppliers, negotiate with them properly, avoid dead inventory. I already said that. Increase your inventory turnover rate, right? You don't have to buy a lot. We understand economies of scale, but this kind of trouble time is not when you buy a lot because it is cheaper. What if it becomes dead inventory and you don't sell them on time? Right? Better to negotiate based on your trends and what you have studied. It's better to buy a bit higher with lower margin and just leave it there. Let's go to demand planning. I think I'm short of time now.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So demand planning essentially is the process of forecasting demand for your products, right? So that you can be more efficient at buying from your suppliers, negotiating terms with your suppliers, and also to ensure that you are meeting customer demand to their satisfaction at every point in time. So it's about striking a balance between sufficient inventory level and customer demand. That's essentially what it is. And to do this, you don't even have to do it in-house. You can always outsource. You can always engage that's why partnerships are very important. You need to have a solid network of people who can help you with a lot of things at zero to no cost. Now, you can't be doing business without gathering historical performance of your transactions, right? And some softwares help you do this, or if you know you have a skill, you can do it manually. How does all my what are the type of customers I have? What are the most frequent purchases they make? Which areas of my business have the highest margins? So turnover is different from margins, and all of those elements, all those forms of data are the things that you need to continuously check. Which types of products have high expiry dates? All those kind of things, you check it on historical basis, and then put all of those into an intelligent report that is coherent enough and feeds into how you stock and how you plan for your demand. That next month this is most likely how demand will be. That then feeds into how you make how you spend your money on supplies, right? So that you don't overspend and get cash trapped, right? And continuously you monitor the actual performance of this forecast so that you can be fine-tuning it. Don't just abandon it and go back again to look at it when it's a month, right? So demand planning and forecasting is a very important tool. You can go online to learn these things for some trainings so that you can be good at it, at least to a sufficient level to help you. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much, Ayo. Really appreciate all that you have shared. Talk briefly about inflow, outflow, alignment, about managing variable costs, demand planning and forecast, and lastly, how to manage and expedite receivables. Yeah, thanks a lot. I was able to pick a lot of points from all you said, and this is actually of interest to. I know a lot were related to hospital practice, and I think it also actually applies a lot to the retail pharmacy business owners too. So briefly, I'll just talk about RxAll and Rx Delivered and the benefit that we stand to gain for these SMEs, these healthcare practitioners that actually practice in this healthcare space. Benefit that they stand to gain from working with RxAll and Rx Delivered. I think I'll also rush that within the next 10 minutes. Okay. Okay, to briefly, okay, unique offers of Rx Delivered. Think again. Okay, well, while I wait for that to come up, as a company, our goal is actually to make sure that there's access to authentic medicine all across Nigeria, and as the case may be, also reaching out to the ends of the world. So, in order to achieve that, we have Rx Deliver, which is an online platform that actually enables SMEs to have access to procurement of drugs at the convenience of their business or at home. Let me pick 1 minute, please. Slide is hanging. Okay, if it will work, I think I will do so. Okay, like I was saying, we as a company we have RxDelivered. It's an online platform that allows retail pharmacies, private hospitals to have access to their authentic medicines. And these are actually not only those, but they can also be delivered to the business owner. So it saves a lot of stress of finding, sourcing for products, sourcing for medicine that are to be used by the patient and also for the business. So with respect to what Ayo also mentioned, he talked about the issues of cash flow, negotiating with better deals with suppliers to ensure that yes, inflow and outflow alignment are based on forecast. And part of that, SMEs actually stand to using RX. Firstly, convenience, the convenience in procurement. Products can be bought easily online without having to walk into stores. Secondly, is the competitive pricing. I think my slides are finally coming up. Okay. Okay, good. So convenient ordering pattern and also delivery. So once products are ordered on the site, they are delivered. Okay, this is how the platform looks like. Products can be searched and then they can be ordered, then delivered. So we have comfortable payment terms too, because this actually helps to improve cash flow and help with cash reserve for SMEs. Products can be bought and paid for immediately. There's an option for payment to be done in 3 weeks. That's the second point. And also, thirdly, there's access to business intelligence because subscribers, users of this platform can have access to analytics, check the best performing drugs, which actually inform in procurement, in stocking up, in inventory management. I also mentioned the importance of buying things that are actually very important, not overstocking, which and this where this benefit that Alex delivered actually offer come into play because we through our software, through our platform, can have access to observe, do monthly review, understand products that are actually selling well, and also even as regards to their customers too. And fourthly, we offer competitive pricing, product pricing. So what you stand to gain on our platform is that you even get to get a product at a very competitive rate. That helps to improve your margin. If the cost price is reduced, then there's higher possibility for making more profit using our platform to buy your products. And lastly, there's up to 200,000 naira monthly credit for customers that are credible. If we have shown to us that yes, you have all that it takes to pay on time and not be a bad customer, we can actually increase that level of monthly credit that we offer SMEs to. So this is a platform that both retail pharmacies and private hospitals should actually explore and not miss out. So I'll just briefly talk about the growth plan. What you stand to gain. Let's imagine that a customer actually try to access our credit facility for the first quarter. For the quarter one, customer pays in 3 weeks because we expect that every customer that actually gets access to our credit facility pays back in 3 weeks and maximum of 1 month. So if that is done every month for quarter one, that has shown to us that this business is actually credible and we can actually expand the scope and the limit of such customers, which actually helps them to also grow turnover and revenue. So I'm assuming that from the graph, customer accesses 400,000 naira worth of goods and they make sales of 500,000 naira within that same month and run that through the quarter. And in second quarter, the limit will be raised up to 400,000 naira. So the customer that initially have access to 200 can now increase the limit to 400,000 naira. So customer has access to buy up to 400,000 naira worth of goods on RxDeliver.com. And if the customer maintains and shows that same good behavior, showing that he or she can make payment timely at when due, does it for 3 subsequent months, then we also increase that capacity to 800,000 naira monthly. And this is actually very important and valuable for any any SME at this point in time, because it gives liquidity, it's access to funds to buy products, sell those products, keep the margin, and then return the initial capital without interest. And as I clearly showed in the slide, there can be growth, there can be increase in the credit limit from 20,000 naira, 40,000 naira to 800 and 1 million just in a period of 1 year. So how does it work? For cash customer, all you need to do is just sign up on RxDeliver.com, and on the platform, click on sub. Once you have signed up, you have dropped all your required documents like the premise license, pharmacist license for retail pharmacies. For private hospitals, there's a need to drop the MDCN license from Medical and Dental Council of Nigeria, KYC form with passport photograph and national ID card. Then customers are good to go. That for cash customer, orders can be placed, and then orders are serviced. Once orders are serviced, they are delivered conveniently to the pharmacy or the hospital, as the case may be. So this is the option of cash for cash orders. For credit customers, which I talked about briefly by showing those illustrations, it is required that customers register on RxAll Delivered, submit all required documents to show that yes, they are licensed to practice either as a pharmacist or as a medical doctor, as the case may be. So once those steps are taken, then the customers will be contacted within 24 hours by our customer success team. So it is expected that this customer should also request a credit facility once there is a contact with our client, with our staff. All the necessary documents are said to be submitted, and then at this point in time, the customer is actually now able to make orders on the platform that he or she has been given. So this is actually the offer that you stand to gain as an SME for using RxAllDeliver.com. So without much ado, that's briefly what I just want to add to what I had said. At this point in time, we want to welcome questions, concerns, with respect to what we have heard today from both Ayo and myself. So I think I can click it open.
I'm honestly very impressed at that the platform that you guys have. I never even knew that you had such a platform. I think it's something that we would even like to share at some point with beneficiary participants at our bootcamp.
Oh, that's good to hear. I think I want to welcome questions now. Okay, we cannot see your. Okay, I guess Sam, you can see the slides now. I think that was when there was a difficulty in raising my slide. Okay, Trevin, thanks. Yeah. Can we make it interactive? Okay, at this point in time, I think everybody can now talk. If you have something to say, please just indicate. I will allow you to ask your questions. You can either ask Ayo directly or ask me those questions. While I wait for that, let me quickly appreciate Abdul Salam, appreciate Shine, Esther, Folu George, Ike, Dominique, Odun Betty, Wesley, Sam, and Trevin for joining our webinar for today. Okay, someone just asked, what loans do you say is available for all retail pharmacies? Okay, I think that's for me. Oh, is it at Ayo? I think that's for Ayo. Maybe he meant.
Okay, yeah. So there's a CBN SME intervention scheme specifically for players in the healthcare space, and that includes end-to-end chain of healthcare, irrespective of where you are playing. I know that Keystone Bank is one of the platforms that helps disburse this, and it's quite a significant, sizable sum. In fact, it gives you a moratorium of about a year or 18 months. In fact, let me look for the thread I did on it and share the link here if you're on Twitter. I mean, these things are there before they deplete to benefit from, so that there are quite a few. You just need to be researching constantly. You would find. Hold on, please. You can go ahead with another question. I will share the link to this.
Okay, please, if you have questions, I think Odu Betty just asked if you will have access to the slide. Yes, everybody will. It will be broadcasted after the webinar, so you have access to the slide from. I think I should have the permission from Hayo to share it.
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you very much. So you get both documents at the end of the webinar. You can either ask if you want to talk, please, you can click on the microphone button. Or if you want to type, you can also send it as a text.
Okay, I guess there are no questions. So, okay, somebody is typing.
I Dominic is typing.
I just shared the link to a content I shared some time ago on how you can access the healthcare facility.
Okay, yeah, I got that now. Okay, I think I'm getting two people typing, Ike Dominic and Sam. Yeah. Okay, I think while we're at that, I think I shared almost everything about what we do. We also have opportunities for young pharmacists that are interested in retail practice, that have interest in starting their own pharmacy. So for such interest, we have RxPass. So if you are interested, if you know anybody that's interested, young, has interest, but without capital to set it up, we also have a provision for that. Please just contact me at Ogunoiki at RX.
I think you responded to that, right? I think you just responded to the last question, right?
Let me see that. What's the best approach to go? That's this from Ike Dominic. What's the best approach to go about demand and forecasting for a new farmer? Okay. In a new location with predominantly low income earner. Well, if you have something else to add to it, to welcome. But I've shared about what we offer. Okay. Yeah. So please, we currently have an opportunity for retail farmers, interested parties in retail business. We'll support you with some level of fund, set it up in a particular design, and then you, as a professional, you'll be paid monthly income and also have an access to the returns that come from that particular outfit or outlet. So that's what we currently also offer for such interested parties. Esther says thanks for this. Thank you too for joining. Ayo, also, what's the best way to generate on-hand income so that we can have other people's money? Yeah, I think that's what you're talking about. OPM.
On-hand income. OPM, other people's money, simply means you are taking money from financiers to do your business as against using your own this thing. I think I've spoken to that already now. So you can either access government grants, you can take loan from banks, you can look for capital equity partners. The problem with Nigerian business is that a lot of people want to do it alone all the time, alone. You can look for people who are in paid employment and are earning millions of naira every month and they don't have anything to do with it. They can put money in your business and you'll be giving them returns. You don't have to stress yourself. You're already running the business. Look for equity partners, and you also have to inculcate the habit of not being greedy. Once people see that you are not greedy and you are trustworthy, people are going to come to you with a lot of capital. People have idle cash that they want to invest at this time for transparent returns, even if the return is not so high. They just want to be sure that if they partner with you, they are not going to be cheated either in the short term or long term. People are going to give you money. However, there's a journey to getting funding, and that journey is you need to have managed your own business at some point. Most people don't want to put money at ideation stage, so they want to see that you already have your license, you've set up, you have a trajectory, right, of performance, so that they can be sure that they will get returns because you have already been making returns. You understand me? So that trajectory is there. It doesn't mean that you can't get people at ideation stage, especially if they are friends and family. It's just more difficult, right? So those are the ways. There are various, individuals. So when you now build that trajectory, you then put a document together. It may not be a full business plan. An investment teaser may be enough that shows that your trajectory, shows the funding gap, that something that analyzes, this is our potential demand, this is how we've been doing, this is our ROI. If you put, this is the funding gap that we need. If we meet this, if we get this money, this is the gap that is going to help us plug in terms of demand gap, our ability to meet customer demand, to restock inventory, to do this, do that. And if you put this money in it, as of today, this is what our returns looks like. This is what it will look like if you give us this money. This is the percentage that will be going to you, right? You may probably have also done evaluation that enables you give them equity based on informed decision. So based on this equity split I've given you, this is how much returns I'll be giving you on an annual basis, on a monthly basis, on a quarterly basis. That kind of thing, comes in. You are able to document those kind of things when you have sufficient data, and maybe with the help of consultant. If you need help, you can talk to RxAll, or you can contact me either on Twitter, Instagram, or anywhere, or LinkedIn, and we can have a conversation around putting together all these kind of investment teasers. So when you do that, you then carry that investment teaser and go around looking for funding, right? But if you are going to get money from banks, you may need a business plan, right? So that's what we do for a living. We document all these kind of things for medium organizations. But soon we're going to come up with this year's Lagos SME Bootcamp. We also teach all these things on planning, capital raising and all that for those who do not know. So that's that on that. I hope I've been able to answer your question in the best way possible.
Okay. Yeah, the Dominique's question, I think his concern is about the location. Location with predominantly low income earners. What's the best approach to address the demand and forecasting for a new pharmacy in such region? So it's about the peculiarity of, okay.
It's the same principle. Okay, go ahead.
No, I think I'm.
It's the same principle. There is no difference in the principles governing demand forecasting in low income or high income. It's the same principle that applies. If you are in a low income environment and you have taken your time to study your pattern, your turnover pattern, it should have taught you the types of products that are in high demand in that your environment based on the demographics. And that will now help you determine what to stock or how to forecast. You can assume, to be honest, if I'm in low demand, they probably buy OTC products, they probably buy low budget products, but that would just be assumption or based on nothing. So it's best to look properly, critically at data. Either if you've not started, you can go to other colleagues, professional colleagues who have pharmacies in low income environment to find out how their the historical sales performance looks like. What are the kind of things that they sell in those environments? What is their turnover like along various product segments? And then you use that to forecast amongst other things.
Okay, thank you a lot, Ayo. I think to also add to what Ayo has said, those are info that we can also provide with time as a company. As a new startup, we already have existing pharmacies maybe around you or close to where you are. So with the info we have on the RX delivered, we can also those are data that can be shared with people that registered on the platform, giving them access to analytics of the products that are doing well in a particular region, products that are being demanded for, and helping you to make that accurate forecast for your stocking process. Yeah, thank you very much. I think we have attended to all the questions so far that have been raised on this platform for today. Thank you for joining today. Thank you. A big thank you to Hayo Bankole taking out time for.
Thank you for having me, everyone.
Thanks a lot. So hopefully we'll be having this again last Saturday of July. So we look forward to having you join us again around the same time at 11, but that will be communicated to you. Thank you once again.
You too.
Appreciate you.